Today I will present a paper by Paul Oyer and Scott Schaefer on why do some firms give stock options to all employees. The presentation is structured as follows. First, a short introduction to different hypotheses and the methodology implemented, followed by a short description of the data used in this research. Second, we will analyze each model and the empirical implications arising from them, and the calibration of such models to the data. Third, I will discuss the results of the cross-sectional regression analysis as evidence for each hypothesis, and I will conclude by providing a summary of the author's conclusions and results. So what are the benefits for firms of giving stock options to non-executive employees? This paper investigates 3 of those potential benefits in depth and comments on 2 more alternative explanations found in the literature. The first possible benefit is that option grants may provide incentives to employees. The idea behind this is that linking an employee's wealth to the value of the firm overcomes agency problems and motivates the employee to take actions that are on the firm's interest. The second possible explanation is that option grants induce employees to sort, and therefore the firm attracts the most optimistic employees by issuing them. Third, firms may issue stock options to retain employees. Finally, cash-constrained firms may offer stock options to their employees as a substitute for salary, or maybe issuing options is preferred by the firm due to its favorable accounting treatment. So let me quickly present the methodology the authors use. First, they construct economic models for each theory and calibrate them using NCO data to obtain empirical implications. Then, they estimate regressions that relate firms' decision to adopt a broad-based stock option plan to firm and industry characteristics and draw conclusions about each potential explanation that I mentioned before. Now, the authors use 3 data sources. The first one is a survey conducted in 2000 by the National Center for Employee Ownership, NCO. The second source is a randomly selected sample of 1,000 firms from the U.S. Security Exchange Commission database. Last but not least, they gather data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics survey of option grants made in 1999. As a first step, they analyze the incidence of broad-based stock option plans in the economy and reveal some characteristics of the firms using these plans. Let's take as an example the SIG database. The authors define an indicator variable, SIG plan, that equals 1 if the number of options granted to non-executives represents at least 0.5% of the shares outstanding. This is, if SIG plan equals 1, the firm has a broad-based option plan. By simply analyzing the SIG data, they find that firms with broad-based plans are smaller, faster growing, and their stock returns are more volatile, and represents 49% of their sample. Now, let's analyze each hypothesis individually. The intuition for calibrating a model for the incentive hypothesis is the following. If observed option grants are optimal, then the marginal benefit to the firm of making additional grants must equal the marginal cost. The marginal benefit comes from additional effort of the employee leading to more productivity, while the marginal cost comes from the fact that an employee must be compensated for the risk he or she is taking. Let's first define the following variables that will help us to understand the model from now on. B0 is the value of the firm as of the date of an option grant. B1 is the terminal value of the firm that is affected by the effort choice by the employee. B is the fraction of any increase in the value of the firm that goes to the employee as part of the option grant. C'(E) is the marginal cost of effort. Phi is defined as the absolute risk aversion. Rho is the relative risk aversion. E hat is the employee's optimal effort choice conditional on the firm's option grant. And epsilon is the variance of the maximum between 0 and the difference in future value and present value of the firm. The optimal option grant satisfies the following equation, which basically says that the marginal optimal effort times the value captured by the firm equals the risk premium. In other words, firm's marginal benefit of issuing option to employees must equal the marginal cost. Now, we need some assumptions. We assume that the employee received an option in year 1 and either exercises or leaves the firm at the end of year 4.
created using Powtoon.